Rob Hall was born in New Zealand in 1961, a small country, a nation of mountains and climbers, where the outdoors isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From childhood, Rob loved the mountains, not casually, not as weekend recreation. He loved them completely, obsessively. By his 20s, he was one of New Zealand's best climbers, technical skill, physical strength, mental discipline. He had it all. But more than that, Rob had something rare: perfectionism. Other climbers were bold. Rob was careful. Other climbers took risks. Rob calculated them. Other climbers trusted luck. Rob trusted preparation. Preparation. This is the story of Rob Hall, the man who made Everest safer than it had ever been until the day it wasn't. Let's talk about what made Rob different. In 1990, Rob summited Everest for the first time. He was 29 years old. It changed his life. Not because of the achievement. Rob didn't climb for glory. He climbed because mountains were where he felt most alive. But standing on that summit, Rob realized something. Everest didn't have to be as dangerous as everyone thought. If you followed the rules, if you prepared properly, if you respected the mountain, you could climb Everest safely, even guide others up safely. That's when Rob had an idea. Start a guiding company. Take clients to Everest. Make the dream accessible, but do it right, do it safely. In 1991, Rob founded Adventure Consultants. His guiding philosophy was simple: rules matter, preparation matters, safety always comes first. Other guides were starting to operate on Everest, taking clients, charging money. But Rob was different. He created systems, protocols, non-negotiable rules. Rule number 1, turnaround time. 2 p.m. If you're not at the summit by 2 p.m., you turn back. No exceptions, no matter how close you are. Why 2 p.m.? Because descending Everest in darkness is deadly. Because afternoon storms are common. Because exhausted climbers make fatal mistakes. 2 p.m., non-negotiable. Rule number 2, oxygen discipline. Never run low, always have backup bottles. Check your system constantly. Hypoxia kills judgment. Without oxygen, you die. Rule number 3, trust your Sherpas. They know the mountain better than you. They've climbed it dozens of times. Listen to them. Rule number 4, weather dictates everything. If conditions deteriorate, turn around. The summit will be there next year. You might not be. These rules worked. In Rob's first 5 years of guiding, 39 clients summited Everest. 0 deaths. 0 serious injuries. This was extraordinary. Unprecedented. Everest was supposed to be deadly. Yet Rob's clients were summiting and coming home alive. His reputation grew. If you want to climb Everest, go with Rob Hall. He's the best. He's the safest. Clients paid $65,000. Gladly, because Rob delivered. Summit success and survival. But Rob wasn't just technically excellent. He was also deeply caring. His clients loved him. He learned their names, their backgrounds, their fears, their dreams. He encouraged them when they struggled, pushed them when they could do more, held them back when they couldn't. Rob treated clients like human beings, not customers, not revenue, people. One client said, "Rob made me feel like I mattered, not just as a client, as a person attempting something meaningful." Another said he was strict, but you knew it was because he cared. He wanted everyone to come home. Rob was married to Jan Arnold, also a climber, also strong, also careful. They understood each other. The mountains, the risks, the pull. In early 1996, John got pregnant, their first child, due in July. Rob was ecstatic, but also conflicted. One more Everest season. Then he'd take a break, be home for the baby, be a father. Just one more season, one more expedition. Then he'd step back. May 1996 would be his last Everest trip for a while. Make it perfect. Get all the clients to the summit, bring everyone home, then focus on family. That was the plan. Rob assembled his team for the 1996 expedition. 8 clients, experienced guides, the best Sherpas, everything by the book. Among the clients was Doug Hansen, a postal worker from Seattle, 46 years old. Doug had climbed with Rob before. They'd gotten close to the summit, very close. But Rob had turned Doug around. Weather was bad. Time was running out. Safety first. Doug was devastated. So close, but he understood. Rob's rules had kept him alive. Doug saved money for a year, trained harder, came back in 1996. This time, he would summit. This time, he would succeed. Rob liked Doug, respected him, wanted to get him to the top, felt responsible, like he owed Doug another chance. Another client was Beck Weathers, a pathologist from Texas, 50 years old, experienced climber, strong personality. Beck had personal problems, marriage struggles, life struggles. Everest was his escape, his purpose. Rob recognized this, saw that Beck needed the summit, not for glory, for healing. There was also Yasuko Namba, a Japanese office worker, 47 years old, climbing the 7 summits. Everest was her last, her dream completion. Quiet, determined, smaller than most climbers, but mentally tough. Rob admired her, wanted to help her achieve her goal. These were Rob's clients, real people, real dreams, real reasons for climbing. Rob felt responsible for all of them, not just as a guide, as a human being. This was Rob's strength. He cared deeply, maybe too deeply. As the expedition progressed, Rob maintained his standards, check everything, follow protocols, no shortcuts. But there was pressure, invisible pressure. Scott Fisher's expedition was also on the mountain. Same season, same summit day planned. Scott was Rob's friendly rival. Not hostile, but competitive. If Scott's clients summited and Rob's didn't, people would talk. Future bookings would suffer. Rob knew this, felt it, even though he tried not to care. And there was Doug, Rob's second chance to get him to the summit. Doug had saved money, trained, believed in Rob. What if Rob had to turn Doug around again? How would Doug handle it? Would he understand? Or would he be broken? Rob cared about Doug, wanted him to succeed, felt the weight of that responsibility. This is where perfectionism becomes dangerous. When you care too much. When the rules exist to protect people, but people become exceptions to rules. Rob had always been strong, always followed his protocols, always put safety first. But in 1996, something shifted. Maybe it was the competition. Maybe it was Doug. Maybe it was wanting the perfect final expedition before fatherhood. Whatever it was, cracks appeared. Small cracks, barely visible. But there, on summit day, May 10, Rob faced his test. Clients were climbing slowly, too slowly. By noon, they should have been near the summit. They weren't. 1 p.m. Still not there. 2 p.m. The turnaround time. Rob's sacred rule. His non-negotiable line. Clients were still climbing. Doug was still climbing. So close. Maybe 1 more hour. Rob looked at his watch. Looked at Doug. Looked at the summit. He had a choice. Follow the rule. Turn everyone around. Disappoint Doug again. Disappoint all the clients who had paid, trained, dreamed. Or keep going. Break the rule. Just this once. Get them to the summit. Make their dreams come true. Rob chose. He kept climbing. 3 p.m. 4 p.m. Still going. At 4 p.m., Rob and Doug reached the summit, 2 hours past the deadline. Doug was crying, overwhelmed. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Rob smiled, hugged him. You did it, mate. You earned this. But inside, Rob knew he'd broken his own rule, the rule that had kept everyone alive for 5 years, and he was about to pay the price. The descent was a nightmare. The storm hit. Doug couldn't move, too exhausted, too hypoxic. Rob stayed with him, tried to help him, but Doug was dying, and Rob knew it. Rob could have left Doug, descended alone, saved himself. Other guides had done it. Survival sometimes requires brutal choices, but Rob couldn't. Because Rob cared. Because Doug was his client, his friend, his responsibility. So Rob stayed, held Doug, radioed base camp, talked to his wife Jan in New Zealand. Jan was 7 months pregnant, waiting at home, trusting Rob to come back. Rob's last words to her, I love you. Sleep well, my sweetheart. Please don't worry too much. He died sometime that night, frozen, holding Doug's body. Meters from the summit he'd reached too late. Rob Hall, 35 years old, the safest Everest guide in history, dead because he broke his own rule. Here's the tragedy. Rob was right. His rules worked, for years, perfectly. If he'd followed them on May 10, he'd be alive. Doug might be disappointed, but alive. Everyone would be alive. But Rob cared too much, wanted too much for his clients, felt too responsible, and that caring killed him. This is the paradox of Rob Hall. His greatest strength became his fatal weakness. He was so good at keeping people safe that he felt invincible, felt like he could bend the rules, just once, for the right reasons. But mountains don't care about good intentions. Mountains don't care about compassion. Mountains enforce their rules absolutely. Rob learned this too late. After his death, people debated, was Rob reckless? Was he a hero? Was he both? The truth is complicated. Rob made a mistake, a fatal mistake, breaking the 2 p.m. rule. But he made it for human reasons: love for his clients, desire to help them succeed, belief that he could control the uncontrollable. That doesn't excuse the mistake, but it explains it. Rob Hall wasn't a reckless thrill-seeker. He was a perfectionist who cared deeply, who wanted everyone to succeed, who took responsibility seriously, too seriously, and it cost him everything. His daughter Sarah was born 3 months after he died. She never met her father. Jan named her Sarah, raised her alone, told her about Rob, about his love, his dedication, his fatal choice. Rob Hall's legacy is complex. He made Everest safer, then died breaking his own safety rules. He was the best guide on the mountain, and a cautionary tale about the dangers of caring too much. Some rules exist for a reason. The 2 p.m. turnaround time exists because mountains are unforgiving, because darkness kills, because storms don't negotiate. Rob knew this better than anyone. But on May 10, 1996, he let his heart override his head, and 8 people died. This is part 3. Rob Hall, the perfectionist, the man who made Everest safe, until the day he didn't. In the next part, we'll meet his rival and friend, Scott Fisher, the free spirit, the man who climbed Everest sick and never came home. 2 guides, 2 philosophies, both dead on the same day. Welcome to the human side of tragedy, where good people make fatal choices, where caring can kill. Rob Hall. Remember his name, remember his rules, remember why they mattered. Because on Everest, perfection isn't optional. It's survival.